Comes to that a boy. Guys on top of things. 7:04.
Hold on 1 second.
All right. We will rip through this because I know everybody's got 5 million things going on. Plus, there's a couple games going on tonight that are quite important. So I don't want to stop progress here. So
Hopefully next month both teams are playing again also.
that would be awesome.
That would be.
Let's take one game at a time, though. We take one game.
I know, but you know.
I mean, after the bees the other day, I'm not feeling so good. All right, so program-wise, since we've met, and by the way, I forgot in March to host a meeting. That's what it came down to. My oldest daughter was between March Madness because the Fairfield for a few days. She was in Atlantic City for their league tournament, and then she's getting ready for Daytona for a cheer. So I just honestly forgot about it. So we haven't met since February, but here's what we've done since then. We had a election day program from that SNL ran for us. That was wildly successful. For that day, we had 102 kids, which is incredible. They just kept bringing staff in from Merrimack College, and the kids had a blast. The parents were psyched that the kids had somewhere to go, and it went great to the point that SNL wants to do it on every day like that for us going forward. So that's a great thing. We had the Sweetheart Dance on March 15th. We had 79 participants in that. From all told, everybody was excited and they want to make that an annual thing. April vacation, we had SNL in again. For the week, they had 130 kids, which is about 31 per day, 33 per day, something like that. And again, parents happy, kids happy, program happy. So that worked out well. Biddy basketball, first session just wrapped up last week. For two groups, we had 64 kids total. Everybody seemed pleased. We have 43 signed up for the current session, which makes sense that we'd lose people because of soccer, because of t-ball, whatever it might be. But we have 43 and they start this Saturday, so that's good. We have tennis starting up this weekend. For adults, we have 12 signed up. For ages 4 to 6, we have 9. For the ages 7 to 10, we have 28. We actually had to add 2 extra sessions to that to make that successful and get everybody into a class. And then for ages 11 plus, we have 8. So good numbers for a first-time program with a new instructor. Cardio dance, we maxed out at 25 for that class. Community gardens. So we had 106 applicants for the lottery this year for 41 plots. They've already been awarded the plots. They just haven't been assigned yet. I'm waiting on a few last-minute payments, but that will be hopefully done by Friday. Pickleball lessons, they're full. I mean, I feel like a broken record. They're always full. We have outdoor classes that start up next week. They're full. Soccer Shots has 52 kids amongst their 4 classes. We started a new program this coming Saturday. It's called Sound Play Music. This is for tots and parents. I've been trying to get this kind of program in for years, and they've been doing some trial sessions for their new teachers that they hired and for parents, and it's gone very well. So we're excited about that one. We had volleyball over April vacation. 28 girls from grades 4 to 9 participated in that. And then we have a spring clinic that started on Monday, and there's 25 girls between grades 7 and 8 who are participating in that. So that's to kind of build the program, become the feeder program going forward. We are ramping up for summer right now. We have 99.9% of our programs out, but things always change and we're always adding when we can. And our staff is all hired. And to answer Jean's question that she asks every year before she asks it, every participant or every staff member is from Wakefield. So I know that's the annual question. I figured I'd jump the shark. I sat there and said earlier today, I'm going to beat Jean to it. So that's all. I say that's all, but that's all we have on going on programmatically. Any questions?
It just did. When you said pickleball, it reminded me. Were you able to get a hold of that lady?
I haven't called her yet. She's on my list tomorrow.
Okay.
Yep. Any other questions?
So Dan, I got a text from a concerned citizen on Sunday at 5 o'clock.
Yep.
With a picture of the bench at third base at the Sullivan Park.
Okay.
And they said that first base was spotless and third base was a disgrace.
Meaning conditions or
Yeah,
the
I mean,
bench
I
itself.
picture with all kinds of bottles and whatever,
Okay.
just on the bench, on the ground. And he said, whoever was on third base was a mess. First base was completely spotless, he said.
What time was that at that you got the?
Sunday afternoon at 5. So I'm guessing the visiting team is probably on third base. Isn't that typically how you do
Yeah,
the
but
dugouts? Bob probably has the answer to that.
I'll double check with.
Varies.
I gotta cross-reference schedules and see who might have been there. It also, honestly, it could have been that the field was wide open. People went over and sat on that bench and just left all their stuff there.
Yeah, it's all spread out. I mean,
Yeah. Sunday at 5, third base bench. Okay.
there's Gatorade, there's water bottles, there's some others, I can't recognize whatever, power something, or
Yep.
there's a bunch on the ground.
I will look at the schedules tomorrow and see who might have been there. If it's one of, if it was a permitted group, we can figure out very quickly.
Thank you.
If it was not a permitted group,
Yeah, who knows? But if there
Right.
was a game that just ended on Sunday afternoon, that would have
Right.
been,
that would be it. Right. Yeah, we'll look into that for sure.
thank you.
Moving over to the AmeriCal, so we have the new skylight on the second floor that's leaking. So
Oh,
we had found it, or I can't say we found it. The staff found it as they were doing some painting up there, and we weren't sure if it was coming from the rubber roof or if it was coming from the skylight itself. James Ioshawa, God bless him, figured out that was coming from the new skylight. So it's tarped right now. I say only, it only rained for 2 days inside. So we got 2 days worth of some water, but it was catching buckets were catching it for the most part. But it's tarped up right now, and the new one is coming in supposedly. Yeah, it's a bump in the road, but we caught it before it became a major problem, which is a good thing. As far as scheduling, it's still busy. There's a few gaps in there right now. Generally on Wednesday nights, actually Tuesday nights and Wednesday nights from 6 to 8. And honestly, it's not a bad thing right now because it allows some extra cleaning for that space that hadn't been done for a long time because we were so busy in there. But of course, if the opportunity comes to rent it, I will. But right now there's just a few little gaps. We have new braces for the balcony. So if you've been in the gym before, we have the balcony up there. There's new braces that are coming down from the girders. So that's make more structurally sound. Eventually there will be some higher, not fencing, but whatever work around there. So we could eventually have people up there. That's not something that I ever intend on doing. That's quite honestly my only storage area in the building. But that ability would be there if we wanted to do that. And then you've probably seen it in the item. The AmeriCal division flag is now flying outside of the Civic Center. That was done by one of our town councilors, but he did it as a citizen. So that's now flying outside, and seems very appropriate to me to have that there when we don't have it other use for the pole. So not that any of that is any of my business. I have no purview over any of it. I quite honestly don't care. But I like seeing it out there. So that's all we got for the AmeriCal so far. Any questions?
How's the, you said that it's still busy, but I was just wondering, are now that the weather's nice, are people still playing pickleball indoors or?
So it's a good question, Bob. So depends on the day. We still have people inside, but we've probably gone from 40 a day to maybe 20 a day, which is to totally be expected. But on a day like today where it was questionable, we get people through the doors. So I keep telling them, I know you're outside, but when there's rain, I know you'll be back here. And I hope it rains Monday through Friday. Saturday, Sundays, I don't want anyone. So it's good for business.
Yeah.
But yeah, so people are still coming, but it's definitely dialed down a little bit. Which again, not a bad thing because people waited a long time when the weather was, bad out. Now they're getting a lot more play. So those who hung around are certainly getting their money's worth.
Yeah.
As far as the Albion Culture Exchange goes, there is a show that's ongoing. Actually, tomorrow night's the last night. It's called Tell Me a Story. If you haven't popped over there, please do. I actually gave myself a private tour today. I'd already seen the stuff kind of set up, but I decided to go over today and see everything and read everything. And it's a very good show. Again, I will say a million times, I know nothing about art, but what I saw was very impressive. So I can only go with what the eyes tell me, right? The high school AP art show is in May. The exact date of the show, I don't have yet. I know that they're doing a couple days of setup and then they have the show at the end, but it's the third week in May. So we're excited to have that. And then the Wake Up Breakfast will be back at the Albion Cultural Exchange this year. That'll be the week after. And I've actually asked the AP art teacher if she could leave the art up for the Wake Up Breakfast, just so we have some nice decor on the walls, and they're going to do that. So they're excited about having their stuff seen by another group of people. So that is all I have for ACE.
What's the Wake Up Breakfast?
For the Wake Up Coalition, where it's talking about use of alcohol, tobacco, drugs.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
yeah. They do obviously yeoman's work, so they have a little reception every year, and they'll be having their annual breakfast this year. They did it last year at the Ace. They're doing it again this year. So, and then finally, Fields, as you can imagine, they're busy, especially where we've lost Beasley. Beasley's gone. That was an interesting process to see that kind of ripped up. So it is gone now. I met with youth soccer and youth lacrosse on March 6th. We all got in one room. We sat down and said who needs what and when, and it actually went really well. You know, I've sat through these before in other towns, specifically in Reading, and it's funny, the lacrosse director and the soccer director were friends outside of that world, but once we got into that room to talk about who was getting what for fields, like the gloves were off. They were ready to do battle for what they wanted, and the two groups here, they've always been great and cordial with one another, and that's exactly what happened once again. There was some give and take from both, and I couldn't have been happier with the results. So fields are scheduled. We did have to move soccer over, youth soccer for the little tots, over to Moulton on Sunday AM, but that's worked out fine, because baseball doesn't generally start until afternoons anyways. We just didn't bring in the AAU groups this year, which I was fine with. Not that they do anything wrong, but we're going to take care of our own first. Men's softball starts this Sunday after youth softball has their opening day, which will be down at Vets. The water is now on at the Mapleway and Moulton bathrooms. We're just waiting for those to be cleaned to get those open for people. Let's see. Oh, I met with Brendan Kent, Danny Lum, and Tom Bankert a few weeks ago to talk about fall field scheduling, and that one went great too. Tom Bankert has always given me a schedule very early and very detailed of what he wants, and football obviously has their needs, and soccer has their needs, and field hockey has their needs, and we were all able to find a way to make it work because I'm the advocate, or at least I feel as though the advocate for youth sports. And I wanted to make sure that youth football wasn't, pushed aside because their main field, Beasley, was gone. And I said, Tom, hey, Tom, I just need 2 days a week. What can I give them for 2 days? And we found 2 days to give them for youth football. And then we'll try to find another day for them, maybe at Walton or Mullen, just to give them extra time there. So everybody walked away from that meeting happy. We all have what we need. Youth football is actually happy with it. So, it's all looking good. So, fingers crossed that it goes well like this for the next 3 to 5 years, because I don't know how long it's actually going to be. But if things go as smooth as they're going right now for spring, that's great, because that's what we'll replicate next year. And if fall goes well, that's what we'll replicate for the following year as well. So where my greatest fears were this time with losing this field, but so far so good. And I think that people are realizing how blessed we were to have 4 turf fields. A lot of towns don't have this, which it's a nice problem to have. It's a luxury, but we figured it out. Figured it out so far. So we're in good shape, and hopefully it stays that way. Any questions about fields?
Yeah, there was a flag football team down at Bolton's this afternoon. Was that permitted?
Nope.
Okay.
Maybe just
They
found
had
an
like
open
a
space.
lot of the field too.
How many kids would you say there was?
I don't know. It wasn't a ton of kids, but they had it all the way from the third base line, all the way out way past center field. And they had like a full-size football field they were running around on.
It's funny. They're lucky that a JV baseball game wasn't going on because that's where JV baseball plays.
I know. I drove through the other day and the JV they were warming up. Yeah.
So no, that's not permitted.
Okay.
Oh, Dan, one thing, just, so so everybody knows, Dennis has been doing a great job on the softball fields. They all, everything looks better than it's ever looked before. He's given a lot of love to the field. So he gets a lot of flack,
He
whenever
sure does,
anything-
but I think he does a
whenever-
great job.
Yeah. So I'd be, if I was him, I'd be up on the roof with a rifle, shooting people. Fortunately, he's more sane than I am. So.
Right. Now Dennis does catch a lot of heat, and honestly, I think he's utterly fantastic. I've worked in 3 communities with multiple different parks directors, and Dennis is the top of the top. And yes, our fields are not Fenway Park, but none are. I think Dennis, with the resources he has, with the staff that he has, because he doesn't have a huge staff, I think they make the most of it, and they do a darn good job. So we're lucky to have Dennis, and I will support him till the day I die, or the day he retires, or I retire, whatever it is. He does a really good job.
It's got to be an impossible job being a field parks manager in New England,
And Julie, he's parks, forestry, and cemetery, so he's overseeing
my
3
God.
things, and he
Oh.
really does a fantastic job.
During COVID, he was really out flat because the cemetery was a lot more demanding than
Oh,
than
sure.
usual.
Oh, sure. But he does great work, and the town should feel very lucky to have him, because I've seen all sides of it, and he's the best. And by the way, he gets awards because he's good. So, they just don't hand those out because you're a nice guy. And Djibouti a great guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else? Any questions, concerns about anything I've talked about? Nothing. All right, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
I
Great job, Dan, as always.
We will meet next month. This time I'll make sure I remember, because my daughter actually comes home next Friday, done with the first year of school, so that's exciting.
Wow.
Um,
Unbelievable.
hey,
It goes fast, guys. Goes
Yeah.
fast. Those of you who've been through it, get it. Those of you who haven't yet, get ready. Get ready.
I'm not
Yeah.
ready.
That's all I can tell you, is get ready. But yeah, thank you, everybody. Go Bruins, go Celtics. Let's hope for Jaden Daniels tomorrow night. Bye, guys.